not be the same book that everyone has been giving 5 stars. She's like, oh, I have to do everything to get out, but like, the sky's so hot. Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm starting a new vlog where I'm reading a bunch of new releases. I did this I think once before earlier in the year, and I thought I would do it like multiple times just because I feel like it's a great way to keep up with the new releases that come out, because I feel like it's so easy to get behind like when they start coming out. So the books that I'm thinking for this vlog, I'm not gonna obviously read all of them because I'm just not that fast of a reader that I can fit in like 5 books. But the first one that I'm currently reading is actually Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I'm about 150 pages into this book, and I've heard a lot about this. I was really nervous going into this one because everyone has been having mixed reviews. Some people have been really loving it and some people have not. I've literally only seen like 2 stars or 5 stars, and I don't know how to feel about that. So I felt pretty hesitant going into this book, but I have started it, and honestly I'm not hating it so far. It's not like I was expecting to hate it from the get-go. It definitely is very different, and I don't think it's supposed to be marketed as a romance. And she kept talking, like the author was talking about like how this is very different from her other books. I will say I don't really like the progression of the romance and like how it's going right now, like the little things that we are getting of it, because the romance I feel like is very stilted and feels very unnatural, and it just feels like the progression is like way too fast for even already 150 pages into it, and I just wish it slowed down a little bit and there was a little bit more of a slow burn. They are positioned to be like rivals, so not enemies to lovers, but like a rivals to lovers story, but none of that really came in. I wanted to see a little bit more banter and back and forth from them, and without them starting to have feelings for each other. And I feel like they got into the feelings aspect, or at least the attraction aspect, like a little bit too early for me. As for Margaret's story, like it's okay. There's only been a couple sections of it where it's her story. It's not like totally boring. I'm not hating it when I'm reading it. Like, sure, I'm a little invested, but not really. I don't know how to really feel about that right now, but hopefully we'll get more of that clarity as I keep reading. But yeah, this is my current read. The other books I have in my mind is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This one is of course the third and last book in the Powerless trilogy. I've heard a lot about this, and I'm intrigued to read it. I liked Powerless, like it was a decent book. I did not like Reckless, but I have high hopes for Fearless, and the way that people are reacting to the ending, I really want to get to this one soon. Other books that have been on my radar are Direbound by Sable Sorensen. I think this one is like really hyped right now. Like I've seen everyone talking about how good it is, and it's like their new favorite book, and I really want to get to that. Shield of Sparrows is a new fantasy romance that just came out, and I've also been hearing really good things about this one. And then the other book is Silver Elite by Dani Francis, which is the it girl of the moment right now. I actually got my copy from Book of the Month because it had like a $5 like starting deal going on, so I chose Silver Elite. And yeah, my copy is on its way right now. I've been hearing mixed reviews about this. Like before it came out, I'd been hearing like non-stop rave reviews for it, but now that it's come out, I think it's like starting to get some mixed reviews. But overwhelmingly, feel like I've seen more positive reviews from it, at least from reviewers. So yeah, this and 4 other potential options. I'll probably be reading like 3 in total, so I'll be deciding alongside in this video what I'll be wanting to read. But yeah, kind of gave my thoughts on Great Big Beautiful Life. Don't know again how to feel about it. It's definitely different. The writing I'm really liking. I really like Emily Henry's writing style, and usually out of any of her books, it's never her writing that's the issue. It's always like other things like the characters or the love interests or the plot. But yeah, not hating the plot, not loving it either. I don't really know how to feel, but I'll definitely keep reading and see how I feel. Hi besties, it's been a few days, but I have finished Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and I ended up giving this around 3 stars, which is definitely like one of the lowest ratings I've given an Emily Henry book. Because it is Emily Henry, I feel like I'm never gonna give a book lower than 3 stars because I always do really enjoy the writing style, if nothing else. I really enjoy Emily Henry's writing style and the way she writes in general. So because of that, there's always gonna be, I feel like, a baseline level 3 for her at least. But with this book, I don't know, I do understand that this is not marketed to be romance at all. It is marketed to be more literary fiction and more just in the general fiction contemporary category, which makes it like really different. And Emily Henry has talked about this too, that it is really different from her other books. I would almost argue that the romance is pretty 50-50 with the plot. I don't know, just for me personally, I felt like the romance was still a really big part of the plot, and it was a pretty big like part of the story. It just wasn't like, I don't know, I feel like the marketing, the way that people were talking about it was like, oh, there's like basically no romance. It's basically all like the plot with Margaret, who's like the woman that they're interviewing. And I don't know, it just made it seem like there was honestly like almost no romance, but this is not that way at all. At least to me, I felt like the romance was actually a really big portion of the book, and the book would not be complete without it. So I was a little bit confused with like the way that the marketing has been for this book and the way that people have been talking about it, and acting like it has basically no romance. Like obviously it is less than her other books, which are like primarily focused on the romance, but I would still say that this has like a lot of romance in it. One of my biggest issues with this book is that the romance was honestly a little bit too fast for me, like really fast for me. It is marketed as a rivals to lovers kind of story because it follows these two people. We have Alice and we have Hayden, who are both writers, and they both have this opportunity to interview this like really famous old woman named Margaret. She used to be really famous when she was younger, and then she disappeared, and now she's coming back and planning to do an interview and kind of deciding who she wants to go with. So that's where the rivalry comes in, because both Alice and Hayden want this job of interviewing her and turning it into a book. But I feel like that didn't really last long. I feel like they were rivals, but like pretty early on they decided that they liked each other, and they started kind of their relationship pretty quickly on. So I didn't really feel like they were rivals for that long. And then the way the relationship progressed was, as I said, way too quick for me. I feel like they only met like a couple times before they were like, oh, I love you, I'm in love with you. Like I feel like even though they didn't talk about it to each other, like our main character Alice, I feel like was talking about like being in love with him way too quickly based on like how many times they have met up and like actually know each other. It feels like they didn't even know each other that well, but they're already having these big declarations of love. So yeah, other than that, it was just okay. The Margaret part of the story was pretty like tame. I feel like there was not a lot of drama. I wanted there to be a little bit more drama than there was. I feel like it was a pretty standard, just a life story. There was a little bit of interesting events happening towards the end, but most of it was just kind of a life story of her and her family and where they started. So yeah, I feel like there was nothing really like for me to grab onto that I really enjoyed or loved. The romance was just okay. The other plot was just okay. And although I liked how it kind of tied into the end, it was a little bit of a reveal and twist of like how everything comes together. Just overall, it wasn't enough for me to like give this book anything greater than 3 stars. I'm really sad because the last couple of books have been a little bit misses for me in terms of Emily Henry. I loved Happy Place so much, but then Funny Story and both this have been very mid-range books for me, so I'm really hoping that the next one can be a hit. But overall, I'm still glad that I read it. As I said, Emily Henry's writing style will always be something that I enjoy, regardless of if I like the romance or anything else. But yeah, that's what I'm feeling about this book. I've already started the next book, which is Shield of Sparrows by Daphne Perry, which I'm reading on my Kindle because it's on KU. Daphne Perry apparently is a really big contemporary author, which I did not know at all. I did not hear of this author before this book. But apparently this is her debut like fantasy romance book, which is interesting. In terms of this being a debut, I feel like it's pretty good. I feel like I'm enjoying the story like enough. I did enjoy it a little bit more in the beginning. Like I feel like the beginning was good. Now we're kind of in the midpoint of the book. I am about 230 pages, I want to say, into this book, so just about like under 50%. Okay, I'm only 33%. I'm 33% of the way through. This book is pretty long on Kindle. It's just above 650 pages, so I still have quite a bit to go. First of all, before I get into anything, this book is about this girl named, okay, I'm totally forgetting her name, but that's because it's in like more first person, so people don't refer to her a lot, I guess, or maybe they do and I just don't remember. But it follows this girl who is this princess, and she lives in this world where there's this thing called the Shield of Sparrows, which is supposed to like bring everyone peace and all the kingdoms peace. And her sister May is actually the Shield of Sparrows. So basically her father, who's like the king, he decided to bring in these outside people called the Durans, and basically they were killing like some monsters for him, and in return basically the prince of the people that came and killed the monsters for them was supposed to marry the main character's sister May, but then they come in and the prince is basically like, actually I don't want to marry May, I want to marry her sister, who's like our main character. And that's where the story kind of starts. So she has to kind of leave her kingdom and go with the Turan people and go to their kingdom. Basically she's kind of being sent in as a spy for her father. Her father wants to do something like, and he wants to send his daughter like to get more information from the other side without like raising any red flags. So basically we are in the part of the journey where our main character is going with the Turan people back to their land, which is called Tura, I think, and that's where we're in. We're kind of in a journey part of the book. And the first like initial part of the book where everything was happening and we kind of got to know more about the world and the characters and what's really going to happen was interesting. But now that we're in the journey part, I feel like there's nothing really grabbing my attention with this one. I feel like I need something to happen. I need them to get to their destination. I want them to just keep continuing on with the plot. I feel like we've been in the journey for a bit and I just want to get to the end of this journey and keep going with the plot and learning more about where she is. The main character is also pretty naive. I feel like she has so many questions about everything. Like literally it feels like she's very young and she's kind of like, it is kind of her first like step into the world because she's always been very sheltered, and obviously she's the princess, so everyone has been like taking care of her whole life and she doesn't really have a lot of outside experience. So rightfully so, she does have a lot of like questions and things about how things are going on in the world, but it just feels like a little bit too young and I need her to be a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, not knowledgeable, but just a little bit more confident. It doesn't really feel like she's very confident in who she is and what she can do and her capabilities. The romance also, there's literally nothing going on because she did get like betrothed to the prince, but it's not like they were like had a love marriage or anything. So she is like married to the prince right now, but again it's more of like an arranged marriage. There's nothing really happening within it. There's no progression with the relationship. They don't really know each other at all. And then there's this other guy named the Guardian who's supposed to be like really scary and mean and cruel. So I'm thinking he's the actual main like love interest, but nothing has really happened with that yet. So yeah, still in the journey. The main character feels a little bit naive and not as confident as I want her to be, and then the romance is just, there's nothing there as of now, which I do like a slow burn, but I just want the romance I'm okay with, but I just want the plot to progress a little bit faster than it is right now. But I have heard so many good things about this on Goodreads. It has like an over 4.5, I think, which is extremely high, especially for a debut. So we'll have to see how everything ends up going. This cannot be the same book that everyone has been giving 5 stars. I refuse to believe it. I feel like everyone's lying and everyone's trying to prank me because I ended up giving this book 1.75 stars, which I think is the lowest rating that I have given a book in a really long time. I haven't given a book below 2 stars and I don't even know how long, and usually I can find some redeeming quality to keep it like above a 2, but this time I don't know. I actually like really did not like this book. I really disliked it, and I just can't believe that so many people would give this book such a high rating and that the average rating is a 4.5 or something on Goodreads, which is extremely high, especially for a debut. And I don't know how that's possible, to be honest. First of all, the main character
reads very young, reads very naive, and asks a lot of questions, so many questions. Every other page there's like questions upon questions, paragraphs of just her asking questions, and it kind of got like a really tiring after a while, because like it would be kind of like rhetorical questions, because obviously no one's answering her. Sometimes people would answer her, but sometimes it'll just be like a page of her like posing these questions. And obviously I know that she's new to this world, she's new to everything, but after a while, especially in a 666 page book, which is how long it was for me, like on Kindle, it just got really tiring and really repetitive. Another thing was that the romance, honestly, I didn't care about it at all. So like I mentioned that she gets married to this like prince in an arranged marriage, but that is not the romance. This is other guy. He's called the Guardian. He's basically has sworn to protect her, and he's basically who she ends up having this relationship with. But honestly, like that was pretty slow burn, and I don't know, I didn't really feel it. It didn't feel all that convincing to me, and sometimes I feel like there needs to be a reason for people to like each other other than proximity, and I feel like I didn't really get that in this one. The plot also got really repetitive, as I mentioned in the last update, that they had been going on this journey from her home kingdom to the kingdom of the Tura to go and like live there, but honestly they kind of just stopped in the middle in these like weird treehouse camp thing, and they never really got to their destination. And this world has monsters, which I thought were interesting, and I feel like we could have explored them a little bit more, but every now and then there'd be a monster attack. So basically the structure would be that she's at this camp, she's asking a lot of questions, she's trying to figure out what's going on, and then there's some sort of monster attack. She is almost like about to die, but she doesn't die obviously, and she is in danger and someone saves her, and then she's injured, and then she comes back to life, and then again she's in the camp again and she's asking questions, and then another monster attack happens, and kind of the same thing kept happening for a majority of the book. And I just wanted something more to happen, and it really didn't, which disappointed me a lot. I don't know, I've just felt like this book was really long. It felt like it was dragging out a lot in the middle and towards the end, and honestly like there was multiple times where I wanted to DNF this book, but I didn't, because somehow I just wanted to push through and finish it, because so many people again have been giving this such a high rating and giving it 5 stars. So I really wanted to be part of those people, so I just kept that hope. But this is such a long book, and I think I definitely should have stopped reading a lot longer, like a lot sooner than I did, I guess. Most of this is jokes. If you like this book, I'm so happy for you. I really wish I was you and that I did enjoy this book as much as everyone else is. But sadly I just did not. I will say the ending is intriguing. The way that it ended, especially like the very last page or the second to last page or whatever, was really intriguing, and if the rest of the book had been better, I definitely would want to continue. But just the way that the writing style is, and how long the book is, and the repetitiveness of the plot and the character and everything, I feel like I'm not gonna continue, even though like I want to know obviously what happens after the end, but I just don't think I have the patience to keep going on. Yeah, what a great addition to this video. Already starting off great with a 3-star read and a 1.75 star read, so not going great for the new releases that I have been like looking forward to for so long. Granted, Shield of Stars was not one I had been looking forward to. It was more of like a hyped book that I had been wanting to get on top of the hype for. But the last book that I'm gonna read for this video, I actually don't know. I have Fearless right here, which is the last Powerless book, but this one is also like pretty long, and I don't know if I'm in the mood for a long book. But I don't know like anything else. I did just get Silver Elite from Book of the Month from the month of May, because I've been hearing a lot about this, and honestly like this one is also like 500 pages, but I've just been hearing so much about this and everyone has been raving about it. There has been some controversy and some mixed reviews once it has come out, especially with, for some reason, Dani Francis, because people like she or he, I don't know, has been writing under a pen name, and for some reason people are mad about that, because some people think that, because this is a debut book, but some people think that a really popular author is like masquerading as another person and writing like this under a pen name. so it's not really debut. I don't know what the whole controversy is. I don't really get it. But I think this might be my next book, because although fantasy romance has been kind of not super great for me lately, this has been just too hyped for me to not read, and I want to be on top of the hype for a book, like in the moment for once, because usually I'm never in the moment. I always read a hyped book like way after, but this time I'm trying to stay on top of it. This book is a dystopian romance, and I haven't read a dystopian in so long. I feel like the dystopian era has been gone for so long, especially like after the whole like Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent, like all of those early 2010s like YA dystopian series that were so iconic. Like I feel like after that we never really got like a huge dystopian book slash series, so maybe this is it. But I've also heard people should say like you should temper your expectations on the dystopianness of it, because it's really not as dystopian as like others say, and it's more romance. But nevertheless, I'm still excited, and I will be starting this today. I also was not expecting that this sprayed edge would be like this, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm excited to start this, and I really sincerely hope that this does not let me down.
This is gonna be a pretty quick update because I am in the middle of working right now, but I am 110 pages into Silver Elite, and I just wanted to talk about some of my like first reactions. Honestly, I am like pretty intrigued with this book so far. I am really enjoying it. I like the way that the plot has been going so far, and I like the writing style so far. At least 110 pages is around like 20% into the book, so I'm not that far into it, but I am really excited to continue. We got introduced to the main love interest, I think, pretty early on, so I am excited to see like how that progresses. The only thing I've noticed is that I don't know if this is like a dystopian thing or like to make it seem like more dystopian, but the way that they have been naming things is like basically just the word but capitalized, and I don't know why that irks me, but it does. Like for example, they'll be talking about for example something called the old era, and old era will be capitalized, and that's just the name. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but like I feel like this is a very dystopian thing of just taking like everyday words and just capitalizing them, and that's what the name of the thing is. I feel like I'm explaining this so badly. Okay, I found a good example, which is kind of like aligning with what I'm trying to say, but there's this place called The Point, and the point, like point is just capitalized, like it's just called The Point, and I just wish there was a little bit more creativity with some of the names, because taking these random like everyday words and just capitalizing them doesn't mean it's suddenly like a proper noun, which she's trying to do in this book, like the author. Not a big deal at all, not like affecting my enjoyment of the story, but I just thought it was interesting, and it's something that I did notice while reading it. So I feel like it's a very dystopian thing to do. But yeah, I don't think that, at least so far, it resembles any other dystopian book. One thing I do want is a little bit more like explanation of the world, the way that the world is. It's like definitely in the future, I think, but there's not really a lot of history about like why the world is the way it is, how the social hierarchy kind of came to be, how the social structure came to be, how the political structure came to be. And I know we're only like 20% of the way through the book, so hopefully we're gonna get more of that. But I'm actually really surprised to say that I'm actually really enjoying this book as of right now, and I just really hope that this can keep up, because this is such a hyped book right now. And although there are a lot of mixed reviews, I've heard like a lot of people really liking this book, and people that I follow, that I trust their reviews, have also really liked this book. So I'm excited to keep going and see how I feel. But so far I am really enjoying it, and I'm really excited about that. I feel like that's like almost a jinx, because every time I feel like I say that I'm really enjoying a book like in the beginning, I feel like it always ends up not staying like that for the rest of the book. But I'm gonna hold out hope for this regardless. Another really quick check-in coming in from 200 pages into the book, and I wasn't expecting to have to update like this early into the book after my last one, but I just have something that I want to talk about that it's not just for this book, but like it's a kind of a trend I've been seeing in a lot of fantasy romances slash romanticises,
because I've been reading a lot more fantasy romances slash romanticies. I'm just gonna call them fantasy romances over the past like few months. That's been a genre that I've been really enjoying this year. I feel like it's also a genre that it has been like rising in popularity because of things like book talk, because it didn't really exist that much other than like Sarah J. Maas's books. That's like the OG fantasy romance series book author, and of course she's my favorite author ever. But specifically with this book, and that happens, I've been seeing a lot, is the fact that like our main love interests and our main characters, like I feel like I need more of a reason for them to like each other and like be attracted to each other other than just lust. I don't know if I've actually talked about what this book is about, but this book is about this girl named Ren, and she is living in this dystopian society where people that have powers, they're called modified, and they're supposed to hide their powers, and they're kind of seen as inferior and no one likes them. Then you have everyone else, and we have this like military kind of thing called the command, and the command is like divided into different blocks. I feel like I'm explaining this really badly, but Ren, one day she also tries to hide like her abilities. Like she's really good at a lot of things like shooting and combat and things, but she tries to hide it because she's not supposed to know all that. But one day there's a like little kid that's in danger and by this like white coyote thing, and she ends up shooting him in the eye, and she ends up shooting this coyote, and a command officer kind of notices it, and he comes to her house because he's like, how did he have such a good shot? Like, you're not supposed to. And there they find her uncle. She lives with her uncle Jim. Her parents are kind of like, she doesn't know really a lot about them. Her uncle kind of found her. He's not actually her uncle, but he like found her and he kind of took her under his wing. So they come and they find her uncle. Her uncle has kind of ties to all of the political distress that's happening in this world, so they end up taking him. And in order to save her uncle, she uses this power that she has that's like really dangerous, that not really a lot of people have the power and ability to do that, and she would literally be killed on sight if anyone found out that she was doing something. I'm intentionally trying to be vague because I don't want to spoil too much. I feel like I've already talked about a lot of what's like happened. I should probably look at the summary to see like what's in that to not spoil a lot. So basically after this, she is suspected to have used that power, but no one really knows. She's denying it, and she gets inducted into this program for people that are training to be part of the silver block, which are the people that like fight, they do the combat, and she's kind of there like being undercover and trying to figure out how to get out. Anyways, that's where like my issue that I've been wanting to talk about comes in, where she's like clearly in this program and she has decided that she is going to do everything in her power to get out, because if you're doing badly, if you're doing poorly, if you're failing, they kick you out, and she's kind of wanting to do that. So she's intentionally being bad in all of her classes so that she can get kicked out and cut. But the main like guy, his name is Cross, who's also the main love interest, he is like wanting to keep her there for some reason. We don't really know why and like what's going on there, but he's trying to keep her. So even if she's intentionally doing stuff to get her kicked out, he is still like keeping her there for whatever reason that we don't know. This is just a long-winded way of saying that Ren is doing everything in her power to leave, like I said, but like she's still getting caught up in her lust for Cross, and sometimes it's just kind of weird and cringe, because it's like, it doesn't really seem that high stakes if you're that easily swayed by like a hot guy that is showing some interest in you. I don't know. Like, I feel like I need more people to be focused on their mission, and it just feels a little bit not gimmicky, but just it brings everything down a notch if she's like trying to get out, but also she's like attracted to this guy. And I'm not saying that attraction is like bad, because attraction is natural. Like, sometimes you just develop an attraction for something, but I just need fantasy romances to have a reason for people to like each other and a reason for people to be attracted to each other outside of just lust. Like, a lot of them is just like, oh, I think he's good looking and that's why I like him. Like, I feel like I don't know, like I feel like that's natural, and I don't want to bash that, because of course like a lot of things in relationships start out with the attraction part, but like when people start liking each other, I feel like I need something more there other than just lust. And I feel like too many relationships in fantasy romances start out in a very lusty and thinking someone's really attractive way, which again, nothing wrong with that, like that's pretty natural. I just want there to be a reason more to go beyond that of like why someone ends up liking someone. Yeah, that's my mini rant. I thought this was gonna be a quick update. I've already been filming this for almost 9 minutes, but that's my little rant about how a lot of relationships go in fantasy romances, including this one. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I am still really enjoying the plot. I actually really enjoy the way that she's going through the program and her trying to like hide who she is and everything. I'm enjoying that aspect. I don't know again how to feel about Ren and Cross's relationship. Like obviously they're attracted to each other, but he's like a command officer, whatever, like pretty high up executive, and she's obviously like a mod. The modifieds are called mods, and she's also like a trainee in this program, so definitely like that a little bit of a forbidden romance going on because they're not supposed to be together. The way the romance is going, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of explanation other than like, I think he's hot. But yeah, I don't know. I just hope that it can keep going and the romance can develop a little bit in a different way. But so far, I am really enjoying this, and I just really hope it keeps going on like this. I have finished Silver Elite, and I'm struggling with my rating a little bit. I'm probably gonna end up giving it somewhere between a 3.75 and a 4. That's how I'm feeling. I feel like in the end, this is a really solid book. I enjoyed a lot of my time reading this book, and I didn't have too many things that I didn't like. I know I ranted about the whole romance thing, but in the end, it didn't bother me too much. It's just a trend that I've been noticing a lot, and that I also noticed in this book. That's why I wanted to like bring it up. Other than that, the only reason I can't give this any more than a 4 is because there were just some things in the end that like I didn't like the way certain things were executed. There was a really big plot twist that happened around like I want to say the 80 to 90% mark, which I feel like should have had a lot more ramifications than it did. And although I somewhat didn't mind the plot twist, I didn't love exactly how it was executed, and I wish just some things in the end were executed better in terms of like the plot twist and its implications. I can't talk too much about it because it would go into spoiler territory, and I want to keep this pretty spoiler free. But yeah, overall I really liked it. I will say dystopian wise, like there was not as much social commentary than I thought it would be. Like in my mind, if there's a book that's dystopian and has a social hierarchy where there's, because usually dystopians have a hierarchy where there's like a oppressor and then people that are being oppressed for whatever reason. I wish that there was more social commentary on that. And again, I wanted a little bit more backstory to the world and like the world building of like the why this world is the way it is right now, and just some history behind it. I feel like we could have gotten a little more of that. Overall, I really like Ren as a character, honestly. She did some really dumb things towards the end where I was just confused as to why she did that, but other than that, I enjoyed reading from her perspective. I didn't mind Cross either. As far as love interests go, like he was okay. I would say he was on the better end of love interests, but yeah, nothing too mind-blowing. I also liked the side characters, to be honest. I liked the people that she became sort of friends with in the program and her interactions with them. And I liked the overall plot and the whole thing about her going through the program and working kind of undercover. I thought that was really fun, and I ended up liking how it played out towards the end. This book definitely ended up in a way that it was setting up for another book. I don't know how many books this is gonna be, but I think I will definitely be picking up the sequel whenever that comes out. So yeah, I think I'm gonna land on a 4 for this. I feel like a 4-star feels pretty good, which is a good rating for me. So I'm glad I like this book. But yeah, that is it for my reading vlog of reading new releases. This is a pretty mixed bag. I had some misses.
I had some okay books, and then I had a pretty solid book with Silver Elite, so I'm excited about that. There's a lot of new releases still out that I've been wanting to read, because Taylor Jenkins Reid just came out with a new book. Direbound has been really popular recently. Say You'll Remember Me came out recently, so still a lot of books that I'm still hyped for and that I'm hoping to read soon. But for this video, I have completed 3 books. Just to recap, I read Great Big Beautiful Life, which is Emily Henry's new book, and I ended up giving that 3 stars. Pretty middle of the road. I'm hoping that her next book can be a hit for me. Then I read Shield of Sparrows, which I gave 1.75 stars. I really did not like that, and I don't know, I thought that the story was like too long and had not great writing, and I was really disappointed by that. And then I have Silver Elite, which I ended up giving 4 stars, which again, really good rating for me since I'm a bit of a hater these days. But yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know down below if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, as of course I would love to know. But that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.